Alrighty, we're recording. Yeah, we are. And it's me and it's Aaron.
What up?
Aaron, my buddy Aaron. How are you doing, dude?
You know, I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Doing great.
I'm feeling really chill. Really chill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good that you're chill, considering that you have a bunch of neighbors who are partying hardcore right
Yeah.
by your
Yeah.
house.
We've got neighbors partying next door playing beer pong and flip cup. I'm confused why there's 20 people in the yard, but I won't
Right,
pass judgment. It's just a thing happening.
you're right. It's just a thing that's occurring.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, dude, thanks for like making time for me and hanging out. I would love to kind of let you talk for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, whatever you want on you and what is kind of something that's you're excited about right now. What are you doing? What is something people should know about you? Whatever you kind of want to talk about that's just totally about you. Because I would love to share you with everybody else.
Totally. Yeah. I'm stoked to dive into conversation. I'm grateful to be here. Um, who am I?
Who is Aaron?
Who am
Who
I?
is you?
I think at the forefront of my focus and of my persona and of my what I'm putting out in the world. I'm a musician. Um, if you just want to cut straight to it, you can go to aaronbearmusic.com and hear
Woo!
what I'm about.
You could post that in the new self promo channel that we have in
You know,
Slack.
I've been
Brand
looking
new,
at
fresh.
that.
Got that new channel smell.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, I think in addition to that, I'm a yoga instructor and meditation teacher, and a lover of community and of putting people together in the same room and sharing on a similar wavelength and vibration. And I like setting the stage for that vibration. So teaching yoga, I'm facilitating space, playing music, I'm facilitating sound. Um, yeah, and most recently I'm actually with COVID-19 and not being able to perform and not being able really to, I teach 5 days a week online, but I've recently become a nanny,
A
so
what?
a male nanny.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man. I hang out with kids
That's
during the
awesome.
day, and I learn so much from them. And I think that's perhaps the third piece of who Aaron is.
That's
I love
cool.
learning. I love learning. So um, I learned so much from these little guys and gals. And it's cool.
How old are they? Just curious.
It depends. I watch two families. There's twin girls that are 4 and a 7-year-old boy, and then there's another family that's a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So they're young and they're just figuring out what to do with their limbs.
So are you going full yoga on them yet? Or have you not like given them
Slowly, I wouldn't say full yoga,
not full yoga?
but I will be soon. I actually just got offered to homeschool one of the families for the fall semester.
Yeah.
It's great. It's good money and it's fulfilling work. I'm making a huge impact in a small population, but given the circumstances and kind of being out of the work that I was doing before,
Yeah.
I think it makes sense for me.
That's
I've always wanted to
great.
work with kids, but I never had like the in, and now
Yeah.
somehow I got the in.
You got the in. Now you're in.
I don't have really formal training or anything, like I didn't go to school for it. I read a book, maybe, like
I read a book.
I'm not a pro, but
I love that though. You're just kind of going for it.
just doing it, just doing
You're
it.
just doing it. Dude, that's a cool thing. I'm also like partial to education for kids. Like that's like a thing that's really like near and dear to me. So I love that. Um, that's cool, man. I think there's like a weird blend between childcare and education right now, like with the advent of COVID. That's a whole separate conversation that is like a whole thing. And like, what are we doing as a society and like, how does that go? But like, I'm curious about all the different things that you do. And I kind of met you when we were both sort of in the event space. Um, and like, of all the different kind of components, like, what are some of the things that you love about your work, either with the working with the kids or the music part, the yoga stuff? Like, what are some of the things that you love about
Yeah,
your
well,
work?
I love that question. I think one thing that um, that I really try to live as my truth is authenticity, um, and that is a challenge for a lot of people, including myself, um, because we have um, so many walls and barriers based on social constructs and norms and what expectations we put on
Yeah.
ourselves or other people put on us. And so
Right.
really what I'm always seeking to do is have awareness of my heart space and um, allow that awareness and that connection with heart to impact the direction that I go in. So my music is raw and vulnerable. Um, the yoga classes I teach are not like fancy. They're not. I'm not teaching challenging poses for most bodies, um, but I am talking a lot about uh, uncovering and unraveling the soul. Um, in a really holistic but a really genuine way. And I think that that has a lot to do also with communication. And I love the word community.
Okay.
I really think that society took a terrible turn when we shifted away from tribes. And you just mentioned briefly education and
Yeah.
childcare and all this stuff. Like
Right.
that wasn't a thing. You didn't have to worry about that. The community came together. Um, the kids knew all the adults. All the adults knew the kids,
Right.
and it was a group effort. And that was for everything: for art, for dance, for meals, for hunting. It was all a group effort, and I think that's one thing that I really um, am always working towards is a stronger sense of community and an interest to help facilitate that community.
Right. So whether it's like working with adults in, communicating with their bodies through yoga, or working with kids and communicating however the hell kids communicate, which is usually running around and yelling and jumping on things. I still do that. So there's that. That's cool, man. There's like a lot of different ways to communicate in there. I'm curious, like there's a couple things I want to ask about when you say things like heart space, right? Like I'm hearing leading with your heart instead of your maybe like logical brain, like whatever that is. Like, could we get in there a little bit and talk about how that, um, like what that kind of means to you and how that comes out in maybe in some of your communication?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's a really common thing that is thrown around is leading with your heart instead of your head.
Yeah.
Um, I actually prefer the paradigm of aligning the heart and the head,
Right.
so that they can move in conjunction, so that they can move together. Um, let's do a quick grounding meditation.
Oh yeah. I'm on
Yeah.
board. Yeah. What do I need
Right.
to do?
So
Do I need to
so
like
we'll
hit?
just
Do I need to hit anything? Do I need to burn anything? What do
no
I have
no
to
you
do?
can light some incense or some sage if you want. Um, but yeah, we'll just close our eyes and
Okay.
we'll bring a hand to the heart.
Got it. You can't. Okay. I'm gonna.
Yeah, we're in it. Yeah, hand to the heart.
Got it.
Eyes are closed. Just notice the breath. And then allow the breath to move around the area of the heart. Notice the quality without judging it as the breath moves around and through the area of the heart. And again, we'll shift the focus on the breath through and around the area of the heart. You can notice qualities, maybe tightness, constriction, or maybe expanse and freedom, or something in between. But without being attached to a word, let the awareness rest on the heart. Slowly you can lower the arm and flutter the eyes open. And so that simple touching in with the heart, for me is a really powerful revelation or like a showing of how I'm actually feeling, how I'm actually doing, if what I'm doing is aligned with the heart, if the decision I'm about to make is aligned with the heart. And so a lot of times when I find myself stressed or nervous or anything, I'll focus on the area of the heart and just listen. So how was that for you, Chris?
That's cool, dude. I needed a little relaxation there. Been like rapid fire all day, so that was kind of cool to just be like. Meditation's funny, dude. There was like a year of my life where I did it every single day for 10 minutes, just in the morning, and that was pretty awesome. And then I just stopped doing it, and I kind of did it sporadically, and I haven't done it in a while. So it's definitely one of those things that like I'm in the back of my head. I'm like, oh man, I need to reintegrate this. Like, there's a lot of this is actually a thing that people are asking for is more like neuroscience chat in in our little channel. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much. There's this growing body of literature around the benefits of meditation for your brain, like literally seeing changes in like density in certain areas that lead to better focus and concentration, et cetera, et cetera. There's emotion regulation. There's all these perks. And I don't really do it. Do you feel like in this, because I know there's a lot of different types of meditation, like, so that exercise for me, I'm just like trying to focus on the breathing part and not really a whole lot else. I'm not really thinking about like, should I do this thing over here with this client or should I do that? Like, I'm not thinking about work stuff at all. Do you feel like this is a tool that you use to navigate life and work things and it's like something you could focus on? Or is this like, I'm going to clear my brain for like 10 minutes and then when I let stuff back in, I'll be able to like judge it faster or like, or not judge it, that's the wrong word for this, but you know what I mean? Like assess kind of how I feel about something more quickly or more accurately. Like how do you, I guess not what is the application, but how does this end up benefiting you like in your process and stuff? Like what parts of it are beneficial?
Yeah, well, I think that the answer for that is as deep as you want to go.
Red pill. Well, we're gonna go full red pill.
Yeah. I mean, so briefly you talked about the benefits. I mean, anyone from right now I'm actually reading Super Brain. Have you read that? Deepak Chopra and
Ooh.
Rudolph Tannigan might be their last name.
Oh,
MDs, scholars,
yeah.
meditation teachers or
Cool.
practitioners. I mean, neuroscientists, they talk about it. I took the Psychology of Well-Being course by Yale.
Ooh, good for you, dude.
Start of COVID. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, one of the key things they harped on or made a statement for what benefits happiness is meditation. Um, I mean, there's scholars all through the map. There's actually a guy. I mean, we met in State College. There's actually a guy at Penn State. He might have left now. Doug. I forget his last name, but he is such a sophisticated meditator. He's spent thousands and thousands of hours meditating, and the guy. I mean, when you speak with him, there's nothing else going on in his life except what he's doing, and I really think for me that's kind of the purpose of it all. I do meditation in the morning after a yoga practice as a way for me. So you said clear the brain again, like the brain. I mean, the brain will never actually be clear. Um,
Not
it,
mine.
no, no, I don't think anyone's. And I don't. That's often the resistance I hear to people saying, "I can't meditate. My mind thinks too much." Yeah, well, that's what the mind is designed. That's what your brain is doing.
Right.
You're thinking.
Right.
For me, meditation is a way for me to come back to the present moment, and
Right.
so that carries into everything I do because I've noticed such an impact in my performance, in my musical performance, um, from meditating
Yeah.
and being able to actually meditate while I'm playing and not meditate, close my eyes and focus on my breath, but meditate, really be in the act of what I'm doing. Um, and there's so many
Totally.
different, yeah, there's so many styles too. I mean, we just did like a little heart grounding meditation, but I've taken several 10-day Vipassana courses, which is, it's the lineage of meditation that supposedly the Buddha taught and used to become enlightened, and it's rigorous meditation. It's 10 days of complete silence, no communication, and
Oh my God, that's so hardcore, dude.
really rigorous schedule.
Yeah.
2 meals a day.
I would die.
Yeah,
I
no
would dry
books,
up like a
no
raisin.
writing, nothing, man. And so that's like that's a real deep form of meditation. I think that the different types of meditation have different applications for me. I'm mostly doing um, anapana meditation, just focusing on the breath as it enters and exits the
Okay.
nostrils. Um, but then it goes deeper too. There's pranayama. There's intentional breath work that can be done in addition or in coalition, perhaps with the meditation that we're doing. Um,
Right.
that's a long answer to your question, but I really do think the purpose of all of it for me is to be able to be present, like
Yeah.
to really be able to talk to Chris when I'm talking to Chris
Yeah.
and not think about all the other stuff I have going on.
Right.
And again, I think here and be with you really here, then I'm better able to be my authentic self
Right.
without trying to prove to you that I'm worth something or um, without thinking about the project I'm working on in my head.
Yeah. Right.
I can be here.
Yeah, that's classic me for sure. I do that all the time. I'm trying to think about something, but other things like to sneak in, and then I have to be like, "Brrrt," like let me focus. I think there's a good amount of um, I don't want to say research because I haven't read this literature, but I know that there are quite a few, I guess, books now written on like being in a state of flow. And there's some research on people who spend more of their lifetime in a state of flow tend to be happier when given the chance to report their happiness ratings on some whatever scale, which is cool because that means that people like professional rock climbers who are literally just like focused so clearly on one thing are spending a lot of time in that state. And when you're talking about like music, like I totally relate to that because there's a place that you go, like if you pick up, like when I pick up the guitar and I start noodling around, there's this first place where it's very mechanical and I'm just kind of going through the motions and it's just kind of whatever. It's a place you could do it if you want. Your fingers know what to do. Your brain doesn't have to really do a lot. And then there's a place of like listening and tuning into that. And then there's a deeper place after that where you're not just playing, like the beginning is you playing below your ability. The middle is when you're tuned in and you're listening and you're playing kind of at the edge of your ability. And then there's this other place where you're like not thinking about the guitar at all. You're just thinking about the sounds you want to make. And you're not thinking about your fingers. You're just kind of like contributing. And that's where you get to this place where you play like beyond your ability. You know what I mean? Where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I sounded like that. Like if you look back at the recording later, you're like, oh my God, like I don't even know what I just did, but it was sick. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's this like totally different level. And I think it comes from that kind of state of focus and flow and just being in tune with whatever's happening. And music is an environment that really lends itself to that sort of thinking. Like if you can just totally zone everything else out and focus and be in that state of like rhythm and like that's a cool place to be in meditation. I imagine that yoga probably, if you're good at it and you don't suck like me, I imagine that like once you get to Aaron's level, it probably is similar. Is that like a ridiculous thing?
Well, yoga, I mean, we think of yoga in the West as like the physical moving, right? But like yoga, the word isn't anything physical. Yoga, the word is union. It's a state of harmony with your dharma, with your purpose, with life, with participating in life. And so my yoga, I call it my yoga, but yoga to me is not necessarily what I'm teaching or what I'm doing. It's really the way I'm interacting with myself and with the world. And so that definitely shows up. I mean, like the music and the yoga practice, the music and the asana to me is like, it's like this, it's all the same pool of work. And I went down to Costa Rica for a music, yoga, and sustainability, like a sustainable design permaculture festival. It's called Envision. Really cool, life-changing. I went down maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I saw Xavier Rudd, who's an Australian musician. Some people love him. Some people think he's a wuss. But he's awesome, man. His presence was beyond anything I've ever experienced. I mean, he just glows. And he has a really strong meditation, yoga, energy work practice. And it was the first time I actually saw a musician where, like, maybe not the first time, it was the first time I realized that at that caliber of musicianship, at that professional musician level, you have to be completely there. Like, you have to be right there. And I watched this guy play. I mean, everyone in the crowd's crying. Like, I mean, everyone's crying. Like, you look around, he brings everybody to tears.
That's crazy,
like,
dude.
Everyone's crying. And
Jeez.
what I really gained from that experience was the knowledge that I can be that present in my music too. I just have to cultivate it.
Right. It's just practice.
Yeah. And so, like, when I recorded my first album, that is the only album that is available right now, it was a constant practice. Like, I would record a take and disappear. Like, I would not be there for wherever I was. And regardless of how good it sounded, I was like, that's not the take we're taking. I was like,
yeah,
we need to do it again because I really want to be there for it.
Yeah.
And so you talk about when you play music and you kind of like, it's mechanical and then you like go somewhere else. And then at a certain point, you're like really with it. To my perspective, from my perspective, when you're really with it, that is the yoga. That is the union, the harmony with the music where you're not faking it. You're not trying to put on a show, but we are like fully in it. And that's all really what I'm trying to achieve in all things. And it is the flow state that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you feel like that's accessible, or do you feel like, oh my gosh, I still have like a ton of practice to do?
It'll never end. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
it'll never end. I mean, before 4 months ago when I was playing shows and
Right.
performing for people, um, it could vary from second to second. Like 1 second, I'm like, I know my purpose, I know my reason why I'm here, and I'm doing it. And the next minute, I look back and I'm like, where was I for that verse? Like, I don't even know where I was for that verse.
Yeah, right.
And just real quick, I'll talk about when I came out of my first 10-day sit, my first Vipassana course, dude, the mind. There needs to be. I actually met a guy that was designing a course for after you get out of those courses.
Yeah.
Because the mind is so like clear and so ready for growth, and like it's insane. Like I went home and I watched, for some reason I went home and I watched the Peaky Blinders. And like, dude, I could feel my mind getting defiled again. Like, and then I like close my eyes and I see this violence, and I go to sleep and I wake up and I'm really aware. I just spent 10 days focusing on my breath and sensations on my body. I wake up and I can actually see and observe my thoughts, and I wake up and the first thing I think of is, Thomas Shelby, and I'm like, there it is, man. Like, so I think those courses, I highly recommend anybody to do those courses when they come back, when people can be together again. Because there's nothing, the mind I don't think will ever be that pure, unless you do like a 20-day sit or a 45-day sit.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so hardcore, dude. Did you talk about that experience? Like, you showed up, you sat down, and then were you like what have I done? Like, because I would have been like, cool, this must have been at least like 3 days, and be like 20 minutes, like, oh no, like what did I do? Like, I would have freaked out.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows. I mean, you sign up 4 months in advance, because they fill up. They're totally free. It's a donation experience. And I mean, it was kind of funny. Like, you get there, everyone does talk at first. Like, I thought you go, you're quiet, but no, you're actually talking. You get briefed. You eat a meal with everybody. You get briefed. You go back to your dorm. I thought it was time for bed. I was like, all right, we're going to bed tomorrow. We're waking up and no one's talking. And my roommate's like, hey man, are you coming? And I'm like, where am I going? He's like, are you coming we got to go sit. And I'm like, oh, I thought we were like just going to bed. He's like, no man, we got to go like get introduced. So like I go over to this hall, and there's 100 people in this hall, and nobody knows what the fuck's going on except the people that have been there. And yeah, you spend 3 days focusing on your breath, and the guy, the person in charge is just like, men are separated from women. They're not into the non-binary thing there.
Right.
But so you're just in a hall with men and women, but all the men are on one side, and you're listening to a man, and he's just like, focus on your breath as it goes in and out of your nose. You do that shit for 3 days, man.
Oh my god.
Like 10 hours a day.
Oh my god, that's so insane. I would crumble. I am so weak, dude. I would crumble.
Dude, people do. I mean, there's a lot of people that drop out. You see.
What is the rate of try? Is it like Navy SEAL level where like 2 survive?
No, it's pretty good. I would say like 80% stay.
80% stay. Okay.
I think. I mean, I saw about,
Just guessing.
I saw about 10, 15 people leave. I wanted to leave every single day.
Yeah.
And they tell you you're going to want to leave every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, they tell you, like, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done.
Jeez, dude.
And it really is. And it's, what's crazy, it's physically the hardest thing I've ever done.
Huh.
Because you're sitting. You're not allowed to run. You're not allowed to stretch.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm in trouble.
If you can, though, I mean, it is the most rewarding experience. I mean, from any challenge comes growth.
Could you sneak out for like a quick run or something?
No, I mean, the whole thing, you're watched. You're kind of watched. I mean, there's a bunch of volunteers everywhere, like, watching, making sure you're quiet. There's a manager on site. There's, like, yeah. You really only start Vipassana meditation on day 4.
Right. Okay. So there's kind of some intermittent talking through the first 3 days while you kind of get accustomed to focusing on this.
You're not talking. You're hearing a recording of a guy that talked 30 years ago. And he's talking the whole time. And that's all you hear, man. You can go talk to there's like a teacher there you can go talk to. The only answer they give you, though, is focus on the technique.
Oh, my God. Jesus.
I'm like, but what about love? Like, because like the first time I went in, I just got out of a really tough relationship.
Yeah.
A really tough breakup. And I was like, but what about love? Like, does any of this matter? Like, what does love mean? He's like, focus on technique. And I'm like, but what about music, man? Like, I'm a musician. Like, does music even matter? Am I supposed to make music, or do I just do this all the time? And he's like, just focus on technique, man.
Oh my God, that's just so brutal. You're just hitting your head against the wall.
You know what, man? The first day I got out of there, I started recording the album.
Yeah.
I wrote a song in there, in my head.
Right.
Like, I wasn't supposed to be writing a song, but I came out, I picked up a guitar, I tuned it to a tuning I'd never played before, and I wrote the title track of the album.
Right.
It's called Let Love Transform, and it was a tarot card or an oracle card from a Rumi deck. It's got Rumi poems on it.
Nice.
I pulled that card right when I went in, and then I just let love transform, man, and that's what it was all about for me. That's what the album's about, and that's what a solid 2 years of my life was about.
That's wild, man. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, dude. What an adventure. Holy crap.
Yeah, man.
That's so hardcore. Well, I'll tell you what, dude. I've got a couple other questions that I would love to ask if you're game. One of them is about learning, for sure. But I think it's kind of a fun question. What's something that you used to believe as a child but don't anymore?
Yeah, I loved hearing everyone else's. One that sticks out is Mike Stern, Christianity answer.
Yeah.
How he came back to Christianity. That's cool.
Yeah.
One thing I used to believe that I don't anymore. I remember when you first posed this in the group, I said, I used to think headaches were called headaches. EGG.
I love that kind of stuff, man. That cracks me up. Kids are so funny.
Yeah. But I think one thing I used to believe that I don't anymore is that I didn't have to have a relationship with myself. I didn't not like knowingly believe that. Because I didn't know better, but
Yeah.
I definitely did not believe that I definitely did not know I had to have a relationship with myself.
Hmm.
And through a practice of yoga, through a practice of all the stuff we've been talking about, I've come to learn that the way I interact with Chris is a direct reflection of the way I interact with myself. And just me interacting with you, just you being in my manifestation of reality,
Yeah.
is a reflection of how I'm associating within my own body, within my own mind, and my own
Right.
spirit as I walk this life. And yeah, I know that that's not true anymore. Now I know, now I believe that the most important relationship I have is with myself. Because if I'm lying to myself, I'm going to lie to other people. If I'm ashamed of myself, that's going to show up in my relationships,
Yeah.
especially my intimate relationships.
Right.
Um, yeah, that's
That's
my,
big, dude. That's so important. I just wrote a daily drip on this sort of thing about like making sure yourself is in check before you can really do anything, even if it's helping other people. Like, yeah, like there's certain stuff that you can do to help other people, but in general, like on a higher level, on a broader, more impactful level, like when you have a relationship with somebody, whether it's romantic or not, like being in the right place of like, how can I contribute and not let all of my own sort of baggage get what transferred over to your mindset. Like my mom used to say this thing. She'd be like, you know, when you're on an airplane and you have to like, in the case of an emergency, like a little air thing comes down. She's like, you always put it over yourself before you help other people. And that this like this, she said it so many times, and I it doesn't get in because this is thick up here, thick, and I just like think that's so important, and like I'm so not good at it. Like it's
you're
just so
what?
much easier. It's so much easier for me to just like focus on other people's stuff and just be like, cool, I can help like with all this, and then I just get lost in it, and I forget sometimes to like deal with my own whatever it is, and managing the balance there. Like that's hard. That's hard when somebody needs something, and I'm like, I can't. It's like how could I possibly have that answer? But when you look at it from this perspective, as you're talking about it, like when you look at it at that viewpoint, I guess, from that perspective is the wrong word. I'm trying to like say this 30,000 foot view, right? Like not just the day to day in moment, right? But like from the airplane, what does it look like? And over that total like track, it's way more impactful if you're able to sort of like manage your own whatever it is. I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
you know,
What it is.
for me it took like me doing something really selfish and really harmful to someone I loved to even have the awareness that that I could, well, to even know I could do something so shitty,
Yeah,
and then to take a step back and be like, why did I do that?
yeah,
And to realize and kind of peel open the layers that were surrounding my heart and try to get the heart to be open. I mean, I didn't even have to try. My heart fucking burst open. I was
yeah,
vulnerable and raw for months.
yeah,
Um, and, you know, through that experience, I learned so much of like the bullshit that I was hiding from the world and keeping way down. And once I started pulling that shit out and
yeah,
facing it and like crying and screaming and moving and laughing and all the stuff that I was
yeah,
like afraid to do
yeah.
with myself, by myself, without anybody watching,
Right.
um, it was then that I was really able to start attracting relationships that I wanted, and to really be able to show up in those relationships in a way that was fulfilling for me and for them. Um, yeah.
That's big. Do you like another thought that I'm having? It's also like a question on my list. Like there's a lot of different things that you're doing, and there's a lot of like lessons that you've learned through some of these experiences. And also like something else I notice about you that's pretty cool is like you go through that experience and then you're like, cool, like I need to go deal with this, and then you go find a way to deal with it in some way, whether that's like I'm gonna go meditate for 10 days, like doing something really scary and uncomfortable at a time when you're like, shit, I gotta do something, or I don't know what to do. Like what's what's something that you think more people should know about you? Good, bad, whatever. Not a trick question.
so much, man. There's not just one thing. Because my ego is fucking huge. It's always been. I've weeded it back a little bit, but I think I'm great, and I think I'm
Yeah.
awesome. And so what I think is, I always think what I think is true and right.
Yeah. Right.
So I've got tons of ideas of things
Right.
that I could say. I'm part of a men's group. We meet once a week, and we talk. The point of the group is the name of the group is Conscious Masculinity. Um, I don't really know where I want to take this answer, but I want people to know that, like, one of my mentors always says, "What's the alternative? You don't like something. What's the alternative?"
Yeah.
And I really want people to know that, like, there is an alternative of, like, whatever's happening in the life right now. So, like, say you're like really, really happy with your life.
Yeah.
There's an alternative. It could be really shitty.
Right.
And it probably will get bad at some point. Or say your life's really hard, really, really challenged. There's an alternative. There's another perspective. There's another way to look at things. And I don't know. I really think the one thing I want people to know about is is this men's group that I'm a part of every Sunday. Obviously it's only open to male identifying bodies, but that we don't have to subscribe to the social norms. We don't have to subscribe to, like, the societal norms to be accepted. Like, I'm a freaking weirdo, man. Like, I do weird social exercise. Like, I actively, for a year, I taught other people how to do these weird exercises.
Yeah.
How to, like, interrupt somebody from something that they're doing and talk to them. And, like, people have, call me out, like, or like, "Hey man, are you on the spectrum? Like, are like, do you, like, not understand social norms?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Right.
"No, I totally understand them. I just think they're bullshit."
Right.
Like, here's one thing. I think it's totally freaking weird that we've decided that when we hang out, we're gonna stand or sit when there's trillions of other things we could be doing with our
Right.
bodies. Like, not just like activities. I'm not just saying, like, okay, we can go rock climbing, we can go like swimming, something, hiking.
Right.
I'm saying, like, when we're sitting, like, why do we have to sit like this? Why can't we, like, open our arms and, like, why can't we just be, like, dancing or stretching the whole time we talk?
I'm in.
Like,
I'm on board.
like, so much gets trapped in the body, and it's just silly for us to adhere to what we think is normal because we're all just trying to fit in.
Yeah. Right.
So I think that's my answer is that we don't need to subscribe to the norms. We can be weirdos and still have that community, still have a place that we can call home.
Hmm.
And if you want to get real weird, you can hang out with me and we can just, like, do weird stuff all the time.
I'm on board with weird. I like weird. Weird's fun. I'm into weird. Okay. All right. Let's keep going with weird. Let's keep going with this. But I have another question that's weird. That's if you were abducted by aliens and you were taken away to another galaxy and all this other stuff, and you woke up and you were, like, chained to the thing, and they were like talking to you, and you're like, oh my god, this is fucking insane. And they were like, they figured out how to communicate with you, and they said, tell us about Earth and your species. Tell us about humans. They didn't say good, bad. They didn't say anything like that. They were just like, just tell us about humans. Like, what would you say?
That's an awesome question.
It's a weird one.
Yeah, weird one. I think in a sentence, we're confused and there's hope.
Mm. That's pretty good. I really like that. We're confused and there's hope. Facts, dude.
I mean, the state of the environment, the state of you know, race, the state of anxiety and stress and obesity and all the physical manifestations of illness and dis-ease is really because we're confused. We've got somewhere along the line, we got our priorities mixed up. So we're confused. And, we've got Eckhart Tolle, and we've got Gandhi, and we've got the Buddha, and we've got Jesus, and we've got Bernie. we've got all these beautiful. I feel kind of bad. I just named a bunch of men. That's so fucking clear that we're confused. Patriarchy, mother. Oh, God, that's terrible. It's so ingrained. It's so confused inside.
It's work, dude. Yeah, it's work.
So for all the ladies watching,
Margaret Atwood,
working on
Toni
it.
Morrison, we can keep going.
There's hope. There's hope. There's people that want to do good. There's people that are doing good for the sake of doing good. And we're malleable. We're able to learn. We're not really proving that right now, but at least America's doing a kind of lousy job in some regards. Some regards, we're transforming at an exceptional rate. We're confused, and there's, and then they'll suck out my brain.
There it goes. I don't know how they would do that, but I'm sure it wouldn't be pretty. And I'm sure that you would maintain consciousness for that whole process.
I wonder if they'd like my music. I wonder if they hear the music.
That's what you should
just sound weird to them.
You should just play them a song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give them a little John Lennon, see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here's where I break out my guitar and play a little ditty for you.
Right. They would have to tune it. I don't know. We'd have to figure out the mechanics of how that would work. The example has to bend a little bit in order to allow for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one for you. As we're talking about learning and changing, what is a resource or a tool or something you wish you had earlier in life? You have it now, but you were like, oh my God, I wish I'd had this 20 years ago, because then
Well, I think anything I have now that I didn't have then, I could have had. Again, maybe if the way our society was built was a little bit more focused on wellness, but I think a journal, man.
Nice.
Journal.
What is journaling like when you write in a journal? Because I have a journal and I've used it as a diary sort of, but I also use it as ideas and notes and it's all kinds of stuff. And it's another one of those practices that it used to be for me every single day for a year, and that's what I was doing, and it didn't matter. I was always going to write however long it took me to write. There was no time limit. But it served a couple different purposes for me. What were some of the valuable things that you got out of that?
I think it's really valuable for valuable. That's a fun word. Able to be valued.
Right.
Reflection. Either in the moment, taking the time aside to reflect on my day. I recently, I journaled, every day for years, and at least a year. Traveled for a while. Ooh, Chris, that's a big yawn. Get you on.
Yeah, sorry, dude. I got you.
Oh, oh.
Contagion.
um, yeah, traveled with a journal. That was really cool. And then I stopped at some point, and then I recently picked it back up. Talking like a week ago. Just taking that moment to reflect on the day. There's like the monk who sold his Ferrari. Have you read that one?
No.
It's like it's just another like coming to. It's like a spiritual type book. It's
That's a cool title. It's catchy. I like. I'm into it.
yeah, yeah, and part of one of the lessons in that book. It's a bunch of lessons. Like here's what you need to do to be happy. And one of the lessons is like you need to take time to reflect.
Yeah.
I think a journal does that for me.
Yeah.
And the other side of reflection is like at the end of every year, I look back at the journal and I look at moments and then I build a timeline. So it gives me the ability to see where I was all year.
Yeah.
Um,
That's cool. I love that.
yeah,
That's
my
something that I don't
timeline
do
is
that I should do.
freaking huge this year. But
Like there was a period of life where it was like several years where I would kind of take a little bit of extra time off in about November and use that time to be super intentional about reflection and like recalibrating like, okay, what are all the projects that I'm doing? What were all the projects that I worked on this year? Like am I making progress? Am I developing professionally? Like am I where I want to be financially, health, physical, like all, like you know what I mean? Like I would go through like an assessment about once a year, but I never looked at journal stuff specifically. And it's funny because Dana was just talking about looking back at old journal entries because it helps her see her thoughts, like her thought process or like her beliefs or what. Like, and I was just like, oh my God, I've definitely looked back, but not in a systematic way. So that's really cool to hear you say that. Because you're also like super consistent about it. Like you've done this many, many times. I did it a couple of times. That's really cool. Love
yeah,
that.
well, I actually haven't. I haven't done it. I've done it like twice now because I really only started journaling like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
A bunch of shit happened 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Bunch, and that was one of the things I started doing with journaling. Um, Another value of journaling, I think, is for me is gratitude. I always try to write one thing I'm grateful for in that book,
Yeah.
and gratitude's a practice. We have to
Sure.
practice it, and it
Yep.
can be strengthened. And blanking on his name, um, Joe Dispenza. You ever hear Dr. Joe Dispenza? Check him out, man. Neuroscience guy, you'd freaking love him.
All right. Hold on. We've
Um,
talked about a couple of things, and I haven't written them down like a
that's right. You got the
jacket.
recording. You got the recording. He
What's his name?
Joe Dispenza.
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 Pez Dispenza.
Yes, yes.
Got it.
And he's got a really cool technique of meditation, but that's healing people all over the world. But he talks about how being in a state of gratitude and maximizing your state of gratitude actually maximizes your ability to manifest what you want. Being
Hmm.
grateful for the things you have, but then also being grateful for the things that you want, like already accepting them, being open and
Oh,
receiving
interesting.
to the things that you want that maybe you have or you don't have is really powerful. And so I use it. That's a value of journaling for me is using it as a place to practice gratitude as well. Um, yeah, man, and just like writing my thoughts. I've got notebooks that I write in, and then I've got my journal that I keep by my bed that I whip. I break open every night and write at least a sentence in, and date it just to keep myself on track.
That's cool. I like that too because part of like what I like to communicate in this whole, I don't know, our little community, the daily drip, the blog posts, all this stuff is like constant small daily efforts and like even your statement of like, dude, even if it's just a sentence, right? Like that practice is gonna happen, even if it's just a sentence. It's like, yeah, man, you gotta. That's just one of those things where it's not true for everything in life, but like I think anything that you want to become sort of like internalized, either if it's a belief system or like a thought practice Like you want to be able to think a certain way. Like if you want to be creative, like guess what you have to do? Be creative all the time. Like you have to like use the muscle. So gratitude, I think, is a great example of that because it's so easy, especially right now, to be sort of like a complainer. And so even if it's just one sentence, like I think, yeah, that's a great. I would love to see who else is doing that kind of thing and who else that resonates with because it's resonating with me.
Dude, even if you just open up a journal and wrote, today sucked.
Right.
I'm grateful for this bed.
Right.
You, even in that simple act, we've shifted a perspective of today sucked to I have something to be grateful for. I'm laying down. I have a place to sleep. I'm not on the street. Um, and I think it's easy for us to like want more. We always want more. We're capitalistic. We always want more. It's ingrained.
Yeah.
It's really ingrained in our DNA at this point. I mean, we've now inherited this capitalism trauma, which it is. It's traumatic. It's like we're told that we need to acquire. We need
Right.
things. But then, all these studies, like people are way happier when they have like way less shit.
Yeah.
So just being grateful, even if you just open the book and wrote, I'm grateful for my partner. I'm grateful for my glasses. They still fucking work. I'm grateful for this beautiful facial hair. Like whatever it is.
Which I will never have, but okay. Because I'm eternally 16. I have Benjamin Button's disease.
That's good. You'll never age.
You say that, but I'll never also have a beard.
Do you have gray hair, by the way?
No, I have some gray hairs.
Dude, I'm growing.
This is
my
just
gray
a sharp fade, dude.
Yeah. I am my hair is maximizing. I just turned 28.
Congrats, dude. You made it past 27. That's half the battle, bro.
You know what? All this, as I turned 28, my chest hair started turning. But you know what? I don't, I'm grateful for it. I have hair, at least, so that's good.
That is good.
And I think it's easy to like, bypass. I think it's, like, oh my, like, your life can be miserable. My life can suck.
Yeah.
But feeling gratitude for something isn't bypassing it. For me, it's actually the opposite. It's finding the light in the darkness. And one thing I've really learned is that there has to be darkness if you want light. It's where the light comes from.
That's annoying. I hate that. I just want it to be like, above the Arctic Circle where it's like bright for like 6 months all the time.
But then it's dark for them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I just want it to be all the time, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, but then would you be able to sleep?
Figured out. I don't really like sleeping. I wish I didn't have to sleep. That'd be awesome if I could figure that out. If there was somehow a pill or a chip or a meditation practice that would allow me the ability to not ever have to sleep, but still get all the benefits of having slept.
So funny you say that. Funny you say that, Chris, because what the Vipassana meditationers claim is that through Vipassana meditation, you can actually sleep way less. And there's actually nights that I didn't sleep at all, but I got a full night's rest. Because
hook me up with that stuff.
Well, what is sleep, man? It's the body rest and the mind rest,
right?
What Vipassana meditation is a constant bringing your mind back to rest in the awareness. And if you're laying down and you're doing that,
right. Well, you just point me to the thing I need to do, and I will practice that because that sounds
I'll send you a
freaking awesome.
website, man. You can go as far in the rabbit hole as you want.
Let's go. I'm going full red pill. Sounds awesome. All right, I got a last couple questions for you that are related. Um, what do you feel like you would love somebody else to share in our little community, in our little group, in our tribe? Let's say tribe because that's fun and relevant to what we're talking about. What would you love if somebody else shared in our little tribe on Slack or whatever? And then what do you feel like you would love to share with our tribe? And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be a thought, an idea, a perspective, whatever. You know what I mean? Like no rules. But that's so yeah, I'm done talking. That's my question.
No, I feel like I'm talking way too much in comparison to.
No, you're supposed to be the one talking. I have to shut myself up.
One thing that I wish people would share with this group is, check this one out, is a moment.
Okay.
Like a moment where we are all there. And I think a Zoom call, sure, would do it, but to go a little deeper, maybe do that like heart meditation or that awareness practice so that we're all really there. And really just share a moment. I think that would be cool. So there's no
That's
resource there.
cool.
There's no,
A couple people have already like said like, hey, it would be cool to like hang out with everyone. Now that like people are watching videos and they're like connecting about it. Like a couple of people have been like, yo, be sick. I'm like, all right, I got to set this up.
but in terms of a resource or anything, I think if anybody has an answer on how to be more, I'll state my need. My need is that I'm often indecisive on direction. So like, I'm really aligned with the masculine quality of purpose,
Right.
of direction, of movement, progress, and I often struggle knowing like what the frick am I supposed to be doing? Like,
Yeah.
I teach yoga, I
Right.
play music, I watch kids. I've had jobs, I've done all this stuff, but none of it ever feels like there's still a place in me that's like there needs to be more than this. There needs to be like something. People talk about like I wake up and I just want to do this thing all day. I don't have that. Like, it's not even music. It's not even teaching yoga.
Right.
I don't want to do it all day, 40 days a week or whatever, or 40 hours a week or whatever it is. So if everybody has any resources on that, would be cool. And one thing I would like to share with the group is a moment. No, I would really, I would love to share this new song I'm working on because I really think it is a really clear representation of what I'm trying to do with my life and with my music. Yeah.
Do it.
There's also a great book. There's a great book. Lots of great books that I would recommend. But we'll just keep it at that.
Why not? You could say a book. You could say 3 books. You say whatever you want, or you couldn't.
So many books. So many books.
So many books. There's so little time.
So many books. Yeah. That's it. I'll leave it at that. If anybody's watching this and you want books, just hit me up.
That's another like probable channel in Slack that we'll have to make is like a book club kind of thing because I think that's like it's an easy way for people to share thoughts and ideas and stuff. It's just
A
be like,
book
hey,
club would be really cool.
yeah, I think
Like an actual book club. Like we all read the same book.
right. It's something like that. I think people want, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll do some stuff. Build some things, do some stuff, help some people. That's what I'm into. Dude, is there anything we didn't talk about that you really wanted to talk about before I like close this out?
No, man, I feel really good about this. I'm really grateful that we had this talk. I feel like I said my piece. It felt good to share everything with you, Chris. Always feels good chatting with you.
Yeah,
You got
man.
a good way
Likewise.
of you got a good way of leading conversations,
Hmm.
man. And
Thank you. Thanks for that. It helps when you have a list of questions, let me tell you.
I mentioned my website. I'd love for people to click on that. Um,
Cool.
Listen to my tunes. And
Aaron, what is it again?
it's aaronbearmusic.com. And then it's got all the links at the top, so you
Cool.
stream it or whatever you want to do. And then,
Sweet.
yeah, attend a class. People can attend a class. I teach 4 days a week virtually right now.
Cool.
If anybody wants some accessible
When do you
and
teach? What?
challenging yoga, I teach. Wait, what'd you say?
When do you teach? Is there like a site for that too, or is that on your website?
Yeah, it's actually right on my Instagram. There's like a link tree
Ooh.
that uh,
Okay, got it.
pulls up a bunch. I teach Wednesdays on Zoom. That's donation based. Like people don't need money to come. I'm just trying to help.
Yeah.
Um, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday I teach for a studio. It's like $10 to drop in. You got
Cool.
to make an account, but that's kind of
Okay.
the people I found is they have to make an account. But
Cool.
and
Sweet.
that's 5:30 Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and 6:15 Thursdays. PM, EST, Eastern Standard.
Eastern. Yeah, you're in Eastern time.
But
Right.
they all record. I record all the classes too. So
Sweet. That's awesome, dude. Thanks for sharing. Also, like, thanks for sharing a lot of stuff that some of it is like deep, some of it is vulnerable. Like, thanks for bringing your whole Aaron to this call. It was awesome, and I love like getting a chance to like peel in like some layers and like kind of ask questions and poke around in there. This is like a lot of fun. Um,
authenticity, man. That's the word I live by. So yeah, for sure.
hell yeah,
Okay,
dude.
I'll get raw with you anytime.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me and spending your evening when you could have been, playing flip cup with your neighbors.
Yeah, I might go do that. No,
All right, brother.
all right, man. Thank you so much for the conversation. I hope you have a great night.
Thanks, buddy. You too. I'll
Are
see you
you gonna
soon.
stop recording and stay on, or are you just gonna stop recording?
I think I could just hit stop and then I can stay on.